that we have an expert on it, Dr. Greuel, and we are very, very interested in your opinion about the models, about how we should calculate on the economy of personalized medicine, how you do it, how we should do it.
Thank you very much, Olga, for that very kind introduction, and I thank the organizers for inviting me here to the conference to speak. I'm actually a biologist by my first training, who turned into an economist by second training. I'm associated with a small German company called Bioscience Valuation, and also with a business school called IE Business School in Madrid, in Spain, where we actually analyze the economic impact of new healthcare technologies. And some of you might be researchers who work on biomarkers, and some of you might eventually think about, for example, turning that into good use in a clinical setting, starting maybe a biotech company. And then the economic issues become important ones. And the situation does not look too good. And Michelle has very nicely in his very first talk that the models that the pharmaceutical companies are currently pursuing do not work that well. This is shown on that first slide. It's basically a representative of a typical situation. What you see on that slide, I don't think the point is very useful. You see on the y-axis value in $1 million. There's a concept in finance that is called net present value. So whenever, before an investor invests in a technology, in an asset, he would determine the net present value. And in principle, when that value is positive, that means it's a good investment opportunity. So when the bar is upward looking, it's good. And when the bar is into the negatives, this means it's not good, because the technology is not interesting enough from an economic point of view. And you see on the x-axis something that is called discount rate. Another word for that is opportunity cost of capital. And it basically illustrates the return expectation of a typical investor. And the 10% is typical for big pharma, the 18% for small capitalized public companies, and the 25% for private biotech companies funded by venture capital. The reason why those are higher on the right-hand side is that those biotech companies are more risky. There's a typical relationship. The riskier the investment is, the higher the return should be. Well, this is obviously based on many, many years averages. For example, the S&P 500, it's a stock indicator in the United States, provided returns of 10% for many, many years. This is obviously not representative of the current financial environment and financial crisis. Nevertheless, you see that when you have a product in development in discovery stage or clinical stage, at least from the perspective of a small company, bars are negative. That would mean do not invest. And this is the reason why currently so many biotech companies have troubles. So if you want to start a biotech company and find investors, you will have a very hard time. Now, part of the reason why those bars are negative is what's called attrition rate. So there's a good chance that your drug will not make it through the clinical trials. Now, there's a phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. In each of these phases, the drug might fail. And the point is actually that more, for example, from preclinical, more than 90% of the drugs fail. So you have a 90% chance of losing money, only less than 10% chance of winning money. Now, would you invest in such a company if you had money to invest? So you have 90% chance of losing? No. This is very hard. So the only way to get out of that would be that if a drug is launched, the prices are extraordinarily high, so that overall those drugs pay for all those phases. But then, if you come up with a very high price, you get in trouble with carrot. So this is what makes it kind of difficult. Now there is hope though, and one of the hopes is related to personalized medicine. Now, several points I mentioned here that Lars already showed on this slide. There is hope, and there's a promise that personalized medicine is more efficacious. Now this means that there's a more efficacious drug, it should get a higher market share within a certain target group. It may also be safer. Again, this should result in a higher market share, which is good. It may demand a premium price because personalized medicine may be cost effective. It's so much better that even when you charge a premium price, you might still be cost effective and therefore be able to get reimbursement. The development may be less risky and also less costly. Less risky because you can already predict which drug will work, which ones won't. So let's see, and this is kind of a hypothetical example. Let's look at renal cell cancer. So in the upper part you see the typical treatments that are approved for renal cell cancer, for the whole entire renal cell cancer population. And the average treatment price is in the order of $30,000. Now let's assume you identify a biomarker that would allow you to select 20% of those cancers that would respond very, very well to a particular treatment. Now, pharmaceutical companies had problems in adopting that because they said, okay, this is like what is called orphan drug syndrome. You shrink your market to a small population, and you could take it to extreme and say, okay, if I have, for example, an individual therapy for one person, the market is so small that it does not justify all the expenses in developing such a compound, such a treatment. So for example here, with the 20% of the patient group, in order to get the same sales figures, the theoretical price would be 5 times as high as the $30,000, so like for example $150,000. And then, I mean, Carol would jump in squares, right? If you would go to an organization, to a healthcare decision maker, and tell them, okay, the prices has to be that high. The current systems are just not able to afford that, and especially if that is a problem already in the rich countries, this is even more extreme for the less rich countries. Now, we will see later that premium prices are necessary, but they must not necessarily be that high. And the reason is, as I said earlier, the higher effectiveness. And this is an example of Herceptin, which is often taken as the example of very good personalized medicine that became launched in the market. And this is also a compound that is reimbursed, as Carol has shown in her example. What you see here is basically, just look at the red little boxes. PAC stands for paclitaxel, which is kind of the standard treatment. And you see here, for those that overexpress HER2, and as the general population, the overall response rate is just 14%. Now, if you add Herceptin on top of paclitaxel, the response rate goes up to 44%. This is a tremendous achievement. And also, when you look at the time to median progression of the cancer, it's in the paclitaxel only, it's 2.2 months, and here with Herceptin, it's 7.1 months. So this is like more than 200% improvement. So with that knowledge, it is likely that you can charge a high price and still be cost effective. So here you show I show the cost of paclitaxel regime, and depending on the perspective, the price is somewhere in the order of $28,000. The Herceptin treatment costs more than $70,000. So despite this enormous increase in price, it's still cost effective. And you see here down there a code called cost per quality adjusted life year, which is depending on the perspective between $25,000 and $35,000, which is within the range as required in the UK. So it gets reimbursed. Now, let's come back to the renal cell case example. I will not go through that list, but basically these are kind of benchmarks, average numbers that you need for the development. You can apply those benchmarks, so we know what is the average length of clinical studies, the average price, the average costs, and so on and so on. And then you can do that exercise for kind of an ordinary case, non-personalized medicine. And you will see that basically the value is negative from a small company perspective, and it is positive, but barely positive from a big pharma perspective.